patterns are Arab mosaic inlaid patterns that you'll find on furniture. You'll find it on musical instruments, jewelry boxes. You see them on parts on buildings and stuff in the Middle East. So you see them every day. I saw them every day in Syria. And when I was there, I was really sort of taken by just how amazing and beautiful and intricate they were. I use those designs and patterns, but I also use it as a way of thinking like what they lose as they move forward as refugees. The idea that that you know these children will grow up in a whole new environment, possibly in some foreign country, Western country, possibly. And what of their culture do they lose? Do they lose those patterns? Do they lose that touch of who they were or came from? We're doing a lot of research about the refugees and everybody of Syria, knowing that that they're leaving their homeland that's been totally destroyed. I think about like that long journey and going from one camp to the other. There's been plenty of points in these stories where I'll read where through a process where one child was not accepted through some border security, or the mother wasn't, and then there's this separation that happens where a child has to fend for herself or is confused in the whole chaos of the situation. I think Arabs and Muslims and minorities, their voices get so misunderstood that it becomes dangerous. That Arab pattern I would have wore on myself as a child, got chipped away as I got older. In this country where I forget how to reconnect to where my family members are, and where I came from. Like I've seen others not really understand my own family or seeing us as being different. But that's only because they didn't want to hear from us or who we were. And I think now is a time, where we let them know. The more we let people know who we are, the easier it becomes over time to break down those walls. Being in this show, I think I think I've shown with Della, and I know I've shown with Reggie in the past. I really enjoy the language that they create. With Reggie, his use of pop culture, stereotypical pop culture, the idea of watermelons, the idea of basketball, the idea of Kool-Aid, the really complicated patterns or color use, they almost don't go together, So I think by him bringing the two, he's sort of pointing at the joke, of that view. There was a time where I had parents who told me and my sisters not to tell people that we were Arab, so that we were safe in school and nobody picked on us or hurt us. I know how people view Middle Easterners and Arabs, and it can be violent. You know, I understand that people there was this certain violent narrative that was created for them by media that shows them being against the American way. But you know, people don't understand that this mother who cares for her children just as much as your mother cares for you. You know, I want a mother to look at this and see herself in that and think, you know, I would carry my child through deserts for safety, just as this mother does. I mean, I'm trying to create a more understanding of and a connection of who you are and who they are, because basically we share the same things. You know, we care for each other the same way. You know, these refugees, they lived in violence, but they're not of that violence. You know, Syria was a beautiful country, a peaceful country that I've lived in, and you know, I've enjoyed my time in, and you know, I get tired of people looking at that country and thinking, well, that's just the way that country is, because it's not. You know, there are plenty. You know, yes, there is violence over there, but there's violence over here. So, and I don't think the violence over here represents who we are.